iRacing.
With snowbirds flying south for the winter, it seems appropriate for the Skippies to head to Florida. Get your sunscreen out as we get ready for round 5 of the Skip Barber Race Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Craig King. Behind the scenes is our director, Christian Duploy, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Craig, if I have any expectations about this race, it's that it's going to be much more of a draft fest.
Yeah, if you've ever seen the Mazdas tackle this track, I think we're going to be seeing that today. There's about 5 straights you can make an overtake. Action-packed race is expected today.
Certainly, and Sebring's history of going from an airfield to now a dedicated racetrack is an interesting one, so let's head to our track guide to learn more. Welcome to Sebring International Raceway. Home to the 12 Hours of Sebring, one of the most grueling tests in endurance racing, this is a track which has earned a fearsome reputation among drivers. The circuit itself is located on the southeastern edge of the city of Sebring, Florida, and was built out of Hendricks Army Airfield shortly after World War II. 3 layouts are currently in use, ranging from 1.7 to 3.7 miles in length. The longest course, which is perhaps the most well-known with it being the one used for the famed endurance race, shockingly still contains portions of the original airfield surface. It's this aspect which has become a signature feature of the track, making it extremely bumpy for racing. Sunset Bend in particular nearly shakes cars apart while they attempt to navigate the high-speed 180-degree corner. As you'd expect for the side of an airfield, there's nearly no elevation change over the course of a lap, but many of the curves are dramatically tall and unforgiving, daring drivers to glance them yet not hit them directly. Thankfully, places to pass are plentiful, including spots like the Hairpin and Cunningham. However, the many fast, sweeping turns creates a dilemma for car setup, since a vehicle that's made too stiff could wind up bottoming out on the onerous bumps. In the end, if you have the wherewithal to withstand the track's rough nature, you're likely to fare well. And since Florida fans almost always show up in huge numbers to witness this test of car and driver, you'll have plenty to impress at this legendary North American road course. A lot of drivers are getting ready for a different endurance track here in North America, but this one plays a big part in that scene as well, Craig.
Yeah, and it all just comes down to the key parts of this track. Respect the bumps, but they won't be using those bumps a lot today. It's all about the straights. You look at it, start, finish straight. You've got the big bend down to the hairpin. Fangio chicane all the way to Cunningham. That's a bit of a straight. And the Flying Fortress straight into Bishop. Probably won't be seeing overtakes there, but chances as well before you get to the Ullman straight. Get there, though, you've got to navigate the hard braking zones, and they are hard braking zones today. The hairpin is definitely a first gear corner. Cunningham, it catches you out. It's more than a 90-degree bend. It's a little bit more, as you just want to make sure you get a good run there. Tower, one of my favorite mid-speed corners in all of racing. And then, of course, Le Mans opens up so much. So the weight balance today and the weight transfer is going to be so crucial for these cars, especially on a cold morning at Sebring. I wonder if they're going to be better than Messi out there.
Yeah, I think we'll see some action without a doubt as drivers are going to be in their qualifying here shortly. We do have a championship that they run in this series as well, and we're going to take a quick glance at that with Adam Miles currently up at the top at 70 points. Martin 3 points behind, and Guardia only 7 points behind. From there, you get a little bit more of a drop down to Jeff Randall, but not by much. In fact, look at Randall, Otuga, and Bertie. 3 points between 4th and 6th. This is turning into quite the title, tied between Burke and Cabal as well for the 7th position. It's early days, but I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a real knockout battle to the end of the season. Let's take a look at the race details as well before we head off to qualifying, Craig.
Yeah, well, we are here for round 5. We're almost halfway there for the season. And it is going to be 10 laps out there today. A 2-minute 20 lap time, give you an idea of the pace. They do get a spare car because it is also open setup. So use something that the community provides, use something iRacing provides, make your own thing, and you do get a chance to get back into the race, and that could be vital today. Key thing is it's a Formula car, it's a standing start, and we're D-licensed, so it's the old school format that me and Joe grew up on. 17 incident points is a disqualification today. On a race this short, you shouldn't really be flirting with it.
No, it's only 10 laps, so hopefully you'll be able to keep out of trouble on this one as we now head off to that qualifying session. Nobody's actually set a time because it does take quite a while in these skippies to get one on the board. You consider that it is just around 2 minutes for GT3 level cars, then we will be struggling to see that second lap for a few of our drivers. Quite hazy, which is somewhat typical here in Florida in the mornings.
Yeah, but I like a bit of haze. It's very nice out there. I was just having a bit of chuckle with Adam Miles touching the inside wall there at sunset. We won't be seeing a sunset today. In fact, I'll be seeing the sun coming up them through turn 1. But if the haze goes away, of course. But this is you're going to see now with Adam, and it's going to be really interesting just to see how much he gets onto the attack onto turn 1. Cone there to give you a nice indicator of where to roughly get on the throttle. He gets on the throttle very well, and then a really confusing corner that can catch a lot of the drivers out. And look at the slide that Adam throws in here through turn 2, through into turn 3. There's a little notch here, so you can just see where you're going to get back on throttle as well. That's the only help you're going to get, Joe. That's 3 corners that tells you on 2 of them where you should be throttling up. Now you're on your own.
And I tell you what, that run through turn 3, I swear there was more counter steer than turning left through the left-hander. So car very, very loose for Adam Miles, at least the way he's driven it on his first qualifying lap. And it looks like he should have enough time to get around for that second lap as long as he stays on it. But he's now coming through Fangio up towards Cunningham, a potential place to make passes in a lot of cars since it is an outbraking zone, but they are going to be flat out all the way up to it. So you're going to see some drafting, and then it narrows up. This is where things get interesting. These are small cars, Craig, but it does get tighter through this Collier section.
Yeah, and it can be flat out before you come braking here for the tower. You've got to make sure you don't hit too much of that inside curve. You shouldn't be getting side by side there because there's no space to really attack into tower. You just have to just accept that it's almost a single file line through there. Some drivers will make it, and then flat out here through Flying Fortress and Bishop, now into Jean Bien. Very nice set of corners. A little lift usually here to really use the curb. This is legal, and then they can just go as wide as they want to turn in. They like to say it's opening up the corner as you get in there, and a fantastic run there from Adam Miles through Le Mans. One more corner to go, and it's going to be the legendary Sunset Bend.
This is a make or break corner, especially because it takes you on to another long straight there, the main straight. So getting a good run out of there is so important. And you will see the bumps as he just slides his way through the inside, notorious for having a bit of a bigger bump. Sometimes that forces drivers to go a little bit wider, but I think these cars can handle it better than the GT level machines that will frequently race here. Josephine Becker is our quickest for a brief moment before Adam Miles takes it away and is actually 0.6 ahead of Becker, but that's phenomenal for Josephine to bring the number 18 car onto the front row on the first try.
And it's interesting to see this man. Hello, Jack. It's not the weekend. One of our astound Lotus 79 and IMSA vintage drivers that you'll see on a Saturday and a Sunday. He's in the skippies, and you can see, and that's a warm-up lap. It's got to feel like it, but he has to attack now. I think he's run out of time because I don't think he's going to be able to make the second lap. And that's not where you want to be. And I think he's just having a few sighting laps out here at the moment because this is unheard of to see him. Always nice to see Javier Sanchez, though. Heike 360, as they say on Twitch. And not the best of times for him as well. Look at the differences, Joe. When you see a 6-second gap, you're probably thinking it's the Nordschleife. Well, at a 2-minute 30 track, could we call this the Skip Barber Nordschleife right now? Some really big gaps out there.
Surprisingly big, because it is a pretty steady strength of field out here. Yes, some of that is kind of slanted because of Miles, but I still look at the rest of them, and they should be relatively close to one another. Josephine Becker Currently coming towards the latter half of the lap here. I think there should just be enough time for her and a few of the other drivers that started early. I think the latter half, like you mentioned, are maybe just a bit too far back to be able to finish that second lap. She's sliding a lot down through Jean Debienne up towards the exit of Le Mans with a minute left to go.
Yeah, this is going to be really good for Philip Burke as well. Also just coming around for some time. What a qualifying it would be for Josephine. But then, of course, qualifying's good. You've got to get used to the draft. And that is what captured a lot of drivers out here. Josephine will cross the finish line first. Adam Miles will be after that. Then it's Philip Burke. Of course, they are on their own qualifying, so they're not actually on the track together at the same time. But just to give you a little bit of an indicating there, Miguel Martin as well, coming around himself for one last time. We're going to get these final drivers in. Martin does go... No, he doesn't. He does go fastest. I apologize. Josephine could not improve. What about the rest of the field?
Miles will, not take his second lap. He slows before it. Interesting. Not sure why he did that. Otuga will take the pole position away from him. And it's by 9 thousandths of a second. Miles still on the front row. Burke will remain in fifth as the time runs out. And that is it for our drivers. Not all of them managing to finish that second lap in the end. At the top of it all, Otuga, your pole sitter. Does he want to be there? Because Miles intentionally slowed at the end as he will start second. Vlado Tito will be third, and Miguel Martin will start from fourth. Philip Burke, good enough for fifth today. Josephine Becker, only a single lap that counted. Still, it's good enough for sixth. Jack David Spickett jumps up to seventh after his second lap. Tim Bertie was P8 and Xavier Sanchez ninth. Jeff Randall rounds out your top 10.
To check out the names we've got on the second page, Raul Roches Guardia will be 11th. Peter Suapanki will be 12th. Pablo Rodriguez Hogla will be unlucky 13th. Mark Milford will be in 14th. Ricardo Martinez will be in 15th. Konrad Grabowski will be in 16th. Franco Alberti 17th. Brendan McDonough 18th. Last of the time qualifiers is Tom Payne, which means the Potato Nation of Phil and Pritchard will be on the back row in 20th.
20 cars will be plenty out here. Question is how many of them can hold on in the slipstream during the race itself? How big is that front pack going to be, or can anybody manage to run away? Because I think that's going to be one of the main factors in how this race is going to shape up. The more drivers involved in that main pack, the more crazy it's going to be swapping back and forth. The weather naturally quite cool here with all the haze, about 95% humidity I saw, which isn't reported on our chart here, but 71 Fahrenheit on the track surface itself. Might take a little bit before the tires truly get up to the proper temperature. A little bit of wind, and these are light cars, so I wonder if that'll affect them through some of the corners, that they're going to be a little bit on edge out there. Last of them find their way to the grid now. Brendan McDonough, I think the last one, and as he plops his car onto it, the lights start to come up. The engines rev here for round 5, and the green flag is out. You can try and get a better run off the line in these cars, even though they're a little bit slower than what you see from many. And it looks like Adam Miles was very good off the line as he immediately goes on the attack, forcing Otuga to the inside. He now sweeps to the outside, 3 wide for the lead, and Adam gets a little bit of a hit from Tito. He almost gets sent around in front of the field. Multiple cars come together, and it is a disastrous start for the 10K driver.
That's a big shock out there, and Jeff Randall got caught up. He had to take a tow. Pritchard takes the tow, and Miles takes the tow. He is going to be de facto last place. He'll try to come out to try to say some things, but I've got to say, I know that there is a slow start there, Joe, but that was a really aggressive move there from Vlado Tito.
I agree. If anything, I'd kind of put that one on him on first glance, but we'll see if we get a replay and maybe that changes opinions. In the meantime, some action coming down into the hairpin. Goes back to single file. More importantly, Otuga, who I thought made a mistake leaving the inside open, is still our leader, but he's ahead of Tito, who was the aggressor that caused that big accident.
Yeah, let's see what Tito's going to do. Otuga did do the last race. Some of these drivers go and do the race before the broadcast just to get their eye in. I know Miles didn't do that, but Otuga did. And I think a little incident out there that left him 40 seconds behind on the field. Mark Mifsud as well, just having a moment out there as Vlado comes in. This is what we expected to see, though. A lot of straight driving, a lot of drivers just holding on. Biggest gainer so far, Tom Payne up 4, so is Raul Rogers Guardia. But I tell you the man, we keep our eye on Tito here. They're starting to break away here. Jack David Spickett's up to 5th. That is going to be my surprise pick for the race, if he can just hold on to this battle.
His livery says, "You are not my friend, we're on the battlefield," and I think that kind of sums up the start for Vlado Tito. He continues to hold on to the back of Otuga, just trying to ride the slipstream, but he decides to get out of it and gets back to the outside as Daniel covers the inside coming up the Sunset Bend for the first time in anger with the pack. Now he opens it once again. We've seen you don't give that opportunity as Vlado takes it, and he is through up into the lead. Behind them, 3 wide, including JDS round the outside, almost out of control as they come onto the main straight. They'll all manage to get away with it, and Tim Bertie is leading what is a crazy pack of cars down the main straightaway.
They were 2 by 2, and Tim saw a run and took it 3 wide right before sunset, and that's what happened to Jack. JDS got a little bit caught out there, and this is interesting because we know the skippies, they like to slide out a lot. Some of these drivers are trying to do that sliding. As you've seen Bertie, the yellow car on the inside there, side by side with Guardia, and Guardia has to yield. But some of these drivers, they're not sliding the car a lot. And where you normally see the conventional racing line is to track out there on the exit of turn 1. Tim decided to just hold it, pin it in, brake a little bit more to keep the car stable, kind of like an oval move, and just make that move up ahead. Side by side they'll go. Otuga keeps the lead, but that's going to be interesting to see that. Bertie keeping the car stable instead of sliding it, not the conventional way. I know that sounds crazy, but not the conventional way.
With Otuga back to the front, let's see how this all kicked off down into the first corner and see if our ire for Tito is misplaced or not, because like I said, I'm with you that I was not expecting him to try and chuck that car down to the inside, especially how far to the inside he was. It was ambitious. I from that angle, it looked like a fair go at things, but maybe a bit much on lap 1, turn 1. That's really what put out Adam Miles, is that secondary contact.
Yeah, I think you're right there, that there's nothing wrong with that. Say you're on like lap 8 here or 10. I think you can understand that, but you got to remember that they're still trying to get heat in the tires. They're still trying to keep on going. And also, you're not expecting, as you start to look to your right and turn into the left, to all of a sudden hit the spotter go, you're in the middle 3 wide, catching out a lot there. And the moment you hear that, some drivers do have a little bit of a panic. Josephine Becker just there now on the outside. She's not having a bit of a panic. In fact, she's going forward. Otuga gave her a little bit of a toe there. Not what he was trying to do, trying to break up the toe with Tito. But now Josephine, she's got a chance to do something if she actually stays there. And to the inside she'll go. She's battling now. Tito will take the lead back again. But Josephine, never say never. We're going to have to do some stats here, Joe. I can't remember the last time we saw a female winner on a broadcast.
It's certainly been a bit of a minute as we're going to go 3 wide once again. Otuga does not want to rest on his laurels. He got demoted to 3rd briefly, but he's going to move right back up past the 2 cars potentially as they all go 3 wide once again, this time a little bit more successfully through the first corner. Tito tries to cut back underneath as Becker follows in the wheel tracks of Otuga. Meanwhile, Philip Burke's now starting to battle with her as he was in 3rd, coming down the back straightaway there for a brief while. And you can see, I said that main pack, the more cars, the crazier it's going to get. It goes all the way down to, it looks like, Jack David Spickett in 10th. Yeah, he is currently the last of that group.
Yeah, JDS in 9th, and he's battling just in the background. You're trying to work out if that's 3 wide. It's not. It's still 2 wide there as Burke takes that P3. Josephine holds on around the outside there on Tim Bertie. Tim taking these really interesting lines, but they can fight all they want. They're starting to lose the lead too. And this is the concern if they're trying to battle for the lead right now. In fact, look at Philip. Philip, he went a bit left, right. He gets attacked by Becker, and around Becker goes as well. And I've got to say, Josephine is on the radio there saying sorry, but I think she just outbraked herself there.
Yeah, and her getting caught up in that meant that she also got hit from behind. I didn't quite see which car that was. It may have been Bertie that clipped her. And that helps out Tito and Otuga massively. They are now 1.5 seconds ahead. They could truly run away with this. This is on board with Martinez coming through the first corner. Whoa! Not what you want to see to kick the race off.
Well, video games are meant to be cinematic in real life, right? Just seeing a car flip over, that's what you see in the F1 movie. Are we right? Yeah, that's going to be scary, though, as you're trying to make your way through. You're trying to avoid anything, and the last thing you want to see is something like that. So now we've got 3 groups here of different cars, and that is, as you see there, that's Javier Sanchez on the outside trying to do a buy one, get one free, and he will indeed. And I tell you what, smartly, as Martin went a little bit wide, following Sanchez in was Guardia as they're trying to catch up. They've got Tim Bertie. That will help them. All of a sudden, you just realize Javier Sanchez is in 4th position. He started the lap in 7th. That it just goes to show what turnaround that small incident there with Becker and Payne has had there, because all of a sudden, everybody now jostling for positions and they're losing time to the leaders.
Very much so. That second group has gained a couple people in the process, still jockeying for spots down into turn 3, and it is going to be Martin that leads the group with him. Bertie has set off and trying to break that slipstream so he could catch those top 2 and not have to tangle with the group behind him as much. I kind of wonder, will Otuga and Tito enter a truce and just kind of swap back and forth, or are they going to continue to lose time fighting?
Let's do it, Joe. We're on a draft track, so let's get into peloton speak. You got Otuga and Tito. They've done the breakaway. Now, normally, if you're a breakaway pair, you're usually working together to keep that pace up. So, number 1, they keep the pace up. But number 2, they don't want to fight. Adam Miles, well, he's got Jeff Randall as company here, and I wonder if they're just going to try and salvage something. 57 seconds behind the next car, which is Tom Payne, as they're just going to have a little bit of a fun battle. But I talk about this peloton. The breakaway group will just continue to charge, and you've got now Bertie, who's in control of what is the peloton. Is he going to tell them, look, get on with this, get on with this? Miles is saying, I've got to get on with this. He gets past Randall. I do wonder what the play is going to be with Bertie, Martin, Guardia, Spickett, Sanchez, all of them there. And like I said, Jack's still there. I'm not saying he could catch up, but I'm saying he might catch up.
He's about 3/10 behind, so I think he's on the toe of that. It is Hoglar that is trying to catch Sanchez that might bring that second group and make this even bigger, but that's all a big if at this stage. We're on board with JDS now, coming down the back straightaway towards Sunset Bend along Ullman Straight. He is chasing on Guardia, who, by the way, is up 6th this race. This has been quite the impressive run for the 8 car so far. That could all change in a heartbeat with how these cars are racing coming into the corner. Close behind, you can see Sanchez getting ever nearer as he closes in on the number 8. And it looks like the drivers have a good run coming down towards the braking of turn 1, offering a chance for Jack to maybe slide up the inside if he chooses to, but he chooses not, and decides to try and play nice here in the mid part of the race and stay in line.
Well, yeah, let's just look at these lap times for a moment. So it's a 25.827, 25.812 for the 2 leaders. Bertie, 25.802. Martin, 25.252. 25.5. 25.392 for Jack David Spickett. So this is working. They're starting to work together here. They're trusting Tim with this, as I say, unconventional way to get ahead. And the leaders are side by side. And look at the timing tower. Daniel just realized it. They need to just not fight this because Bertie is in slipstream range right now.
Yeah, they've gone from 1.4 seconds now to only 9/10. They are absolutely catching. And I do think they need to try and put their differences aside if they want to keep this as a 2-car fight. Otherwise, it is going to get massively complicated. Shows his nose a little bit, but Daniel doesn't go for it. So yeah, he's thinking big picture here. Is Vlado doing the same, though, as Daniel? Tim Bertie has this down now to 0.8 of a second. They are coming.
Yeah, coming. Oh, my word. I don't know if we just caught that on the rear camera, but Otuga went to brake for Tower and dipped the rear tire on the grass, and he just had to catch a big slide there for a moment. It would have been a big slide had he not caught it early. So he's able to hold on, but still on the back. That's fine. Will he look to make an overtake down the Oldman Straight again? They might just be chopping and changing. We're a bit too early for the game of chess. I say that. The rest of the field behind them, they're happy enough, and I wouldn't be surprised if they'll just say to Tim right now, go a little bit closer. But Tim's starting to pull away from Miguel Martin. So look at these elongated gaps right now. All of a sudden, Tim might be joining the breakaway, and the peloton might be changed. But here they go side by side for the lead, and Otuga retakes it.
Indeed, that time he was able to make a slipstream pass, but look at this. Birdie is now 0.5 of a second behind as we go 3 wide up into Sunset Bend, battling between Becker, Martinez, and Hoglar for the 8th position. Becker up ahead of the group momentarily before Martinez cuts back underneath and is going to be able to just nose ahead down the straight.
Yeah, but the outside line can be faster in these skippies, so I do wonder if she'll be able to get this over Martinez. But if she can lead this pack, I think she can get them back to that other pack. Got to try and find a way to find 2.8 seconds, however. So maybe the big picture will be fight for this instead of try to get back to the front, because the front is starting to really have issues here, because all of a sudden Bertie was doing the right thing and Martin couldn't keep up with Bertie, and now this pack, they've lost Bertie and they might be losing the lead once again. That's some impressive pace there from Tim Bertie, putting a 24.5 last time, and he's right on the rear now of Vlado Tito.
Yeah, he put in a stonking lap and has made it a 3-car fight, while we check in the group behind him being led by Miguel Martin from 4th on back. I heard on the radio of Ricardo Martinez say we're losing time. So there are drivers that are trying their best to catch up to the leaders, thinking this is more than just a wheel-to-wheel battle and having fun out on the circuit. They're looking to try and see if they can get better results overall. But we ride on board with the German as Tim holds on to the back. Now that he's caught them, is he also going to play nice, or is he going to start to chop it up?
I think it will come down to what happens down the Oldman Straight, and that's the big thing. There's the iRacing blimp just in the sky, just a quick wave to that as we go on by, but look at the speeds as well. He gets a bit more slipstream with the double toe, so that's going to really affect the dirty air. And look at the different slides, and I really like what Tim's doing. This car feels more planted. Some drivers love to keep it and slide it out. This feels stable, almost like a GT car or an F4 car. And he's really got this car planted today. Feels like he's using something different. Loses the slipstream to Tito, but the way he's not attacking here says to me he's happy enough to just let it go. And Guardia finally gets past Martin, and I think he realizes they're losing time. Deep into Sunset goes Martin. Guardia, might be losing time. They're trying to get back up to the front. We've got 4 to go as they come across the line. They really need to work it now.
Yeah, it went from about 0.7 between Miguel and Bertie to nearly 1.1 seconds that lap. So he very much was losing time as they get single file between Tito and Ortuga, with Vlado leading the race still. And like you said, 4 laps to go. This will go away quickly, even though it's a long time around this circuit. That means fewer opportunities, the fewer laps that you have around here.
Yeah, but fewer laps, but also remember, we talk about it, 4.5, 5 straights here to really look for a move if you need it. Slipstream is strong in these cars, and I do wonder if that's going to be crucial. And if the front 3 decide that they want to go and have a freeway dance, this ain't ECW, guys. You're going to have to keep this on the track. And they are now losing time, because that little moment has given Guardia a staggering half a second going into the hairpin, and he's right on the back now, and he's brought a whole gaggle of people. The top 7 are now within less than 2 seconds to each other. It's game on with 4 to go.
Oh, this is exactly what Raul would have wanted. It might say student driver on the side of Tim Bertie, but he is no slouch. In fact, I think the only thing that he is a student of is those 2 in front of him, trying to pick up and see where he can find an advantage in this fight. But now he's got Raul properly caught up to him. Only 0.3 of a second between himself So you can say that this lead group has once again grown to 7 cars.
Now, let's just quickly talk about the strength of field today. 4,993. I know we can say it's inflated a little bit because we got a 10K driver. And Adam, he's still going to keep his 10K after this, but that's a lot of iRating loss for him. But this is a stacked field regardless. 6K, 7K, 6.8, 6.1, 7, 5.8, 5.6. Everybody is absolutely here with an intention to race. And now, the animals, they go 2 by 2 down the Ullman Straight. The leaders don't do anything. Guardia looks for the move to take the P3, and he's got such a fast line through Sunset. They're 3 wide going to the exit of Sunset, and it looks like Tito had to do a lift out there. They're almost 4 wide. They're back to 2 wide. 3 wide. They're trying to make it 4 wide. Excusez-moi, civil play. They're going to go 5 wide, Joe.
Oh, this is not going to end well, and it's Guardia that gets the brunt of it as he gets clipped and runs into the wall. The rest of them manage to hold out, and they get it down to at least 2 by 2 through turn 1. Oh, my goodness. Looks like Sanchez actually came out the best as he moves into second place. Tito into third, while Martin and Birdie still squabble over the 4th spot. Otuga now a second ahead of the group. This is his chance.
Wow, I tell you what, I would have loved to have seen that on the Javier's stream. The idea that you don't even get told you're 3 wide. Well, you get told you're 3 wide, you don't get told you're 4 wide. I think the spot would be having a heart attack. Aussie, Greg Hill, you'd be having a heart attack if it was 5 wide, but Javier holds on to it, and now he's got to drag this pack back to Daniel. They all had to do a little bit of lifting, and they almost had another incident going into turn 1, but they all backed out of it. Martin did apologize. But I do feel that everyone was getting a little bit petrified, paralyzed. You get the idea. They were getting paranoid out there. They are holding on. But wow, 5 wide. Sanchez, how is he going to catch up to Otuga, who's got some fantastic pace without slipstream today?
Good question. And I think this should be a representative lap, this one that they're on. So we'll see what the times look like between the pair of them. And if Sanchez cuts down even a couple tenths, that should be enough to get him into the slipstream within the final lap. But it's going to be difficult to manage to get that done. He's going to have to be very consistent and very fast. So watch them head towards the Ullman Straight. He is still bringing along a whole bunch of cars. There's about 4 others with Sanchez behind him, as we've lost, of course, Raul in that craziness down the main straight. Did he get going, actually? Yeah, he is running again. He's in 11th right now, it looks like.
Just looking at the tower, and slowly Daniel's pulling away on the exit there of Le Mans. Here's a little moment as well. Josephine Becker looking to getting overtaken by Hogler as well. Hogler trying to make the way up 6 now for Hogler, up 6 for Martinez, down 6 for Burke, and now up 7 for Martinez, getting that move done. And these drivers, they've got so much overspeed. I don't think they realize where to go, what to do. Javier at the front is almost dictating the pace, but the respective lap times have come in. It's a 2:24.7 for Daniel. Remember, Javier had to do a little bit of survive and drive. It was a 1:25.1. No one was in the 24s, but Daniel that last time by.
Yeah, that does not bode well, and things are getting worse for Sanchez. Tito is now fighting with him, and as fast as Tito is, 2 laps to go, less than 2 laps now at this stage. I just don't think with this side-by-side battling, even if Lado gets in front of him, that he'll have enough time to run down Otuga.
No, I think it's done. I think it's done. They going that side-by-side through turn 2 and turn 3 just set them up here, because they've lost a 1.5 seconds to Daniel, and the gap's now 3 seconds on the timing tower, just near enough. So I think this is it. I think they're going to have to just accept that they've kind of lost it. And yeah, I think Martin back on the radio again talking about it as well. He knows that if they want to get the win, they're going to have to work together, but they can't work together now. They are constantly fighting, and I wouldn't be surprised if they now just accept they're fighting for second best.
The words on the side of Lado's car do seem a bit prophetic for this race. It seems he is going to fight anybody and everybody, no matter what, and just go on his pace alone, but it seems to have bit them a little bit this time. It's now up to 3 seconds between Otuga and Sanchez with a lap and a half left to go. Up through Bishop, Sanchez, Tito, Martin, and Spickett is your second through fifth positions.
Yeah, Birdie's still there as well, and they've still got a 5-car group for this as well. So anything can happen, and if drivers want to try and set themselves up for a better line, this is the time to do it. Usually on a slipstream track, we always say for the Mazdas, third place in the pack is usually the best place to be, and that belongs to Martin right now. And I wonder if Martin is going to look for this. He'll go around the outside of Sunset. They're going to go 3 wide. Jack's just going to have to watch this. He may even just squeeze a way through, but we'll see who gets the advantage. Around, they'll go 3 wide, through Sunset, still 3 wide, goes into 2 wide as Martin has to yield. Jack Davis Pickett gets a good run. In fact, it's bumping from Tito and Sanchez, and they're going to go 3 wide. They're going to try and go 4 wide again. Martin couldn't find the way through. Jack lost all the speed, and somehow, after all that, Vlado Tito keeps hold of P2.
White flag is out. Last lap, 4 wide, coming down into the first corner. Vlado comes out ahead of the group. Martin able to get into second briefly, but Jack David Spickett, he likes that undercut going shallow off the corner. Is this enough as he slides it into turn 3, nearly making contact with Martin to his outside? They'll somehow keep from tangling with one another. He gets into third. Vlado Tito in front of him. Can he run him down?
If anyone can, it's Jack David Spickett, but he also has to look behind. So I wonder if Tito's going to stick to the right and Jack sticks to the left, or vice versa. In fact, that is it. Tito to the left, Jack to the right. Door's been left open, but Martin can't make the move. And Tim still at the back of this going, what have I got to do? And very shortly, Hoglar is almost on the back of this as well. And we could have a 9-car pack for second place here if everything goes up in smoke on the last few corners. But Jack is holding that P3. He'll be a very good P3 for him, but Tito somehow is just holding off everybody. No one had made an attack yet. Joe, I think that is strategy. That is a game of chess.
Indeed, but it gets complicated because coming down the Ullman Straight, you still have the main straightaway to worry about, and drivers could get by you and snipe you right at the finish. By the way, Josephine Becker is with that group you mentioned that is catching them. She could have an impressive recovery here at the very end and gain a lot of spots. It depends on what is going to happen, because here they head up into Jean Debienne. The exit of Le Mans will decide a lot here. Who gets the run, who will have the slipstream, and who will position themselves where. Right now it is Vlado Tito at the front of the group. He immediately weaves off to the inside of the Ullman Straight. It is Spickett who is behind him, who pops out, looking to the outside. He's got the speed, but he's bringing along Martin, and they're going to go 3 wide now. 4 wide potentially for Sanchez. He wants to try and get his nose in there, but he can't quite, and he backs out of it. Vlado with still the inside, as in front of all of them. We have to mention that Daniel Ortuga has run away, and he has taken the win at the front of the field. Meanwhile, for second place, Vlado holds ahead, just ahead of Sanchez, and it is Vlado P2, Sanchez in third, and Martin will narrowly beat Spickett to fourth.
Yeah, in the background as well, there was a dead heat as well, as I believe, Hoglar holds off Martinez and Josephine Becker, and they were 3 wide going to the line as well. Some of the times when you see the timing tower, it's absolutely mental. Vlado Tito, as we see Adam Miles come around, Tito beat Sanchez by 0.084, who beat Martin by 0.115, who beat Spickett by 0.010, who beat Bertie by 0.065, and then those 3 I was just talking about, Hoglar beat Martinez by 0.073, and then Becker lost out by 0.057. We said this was going to be like the Mazdas, Joe. Well, Javier said it. That was crazy.
Yeah, if you look at it, third down to, it looks like 6th position, or 10th, 6th position is 0.19 of a second. So that is very, very tight. But Miles, unfortunately, going to have to settle for 17th in the end. His race very much decided as we see the replay of that 3 wide finish across the line between Hoglar, Martinez, and Becker. But very much decided by that lap 1 incident there for Adam Miles. Let's take a look at how things wound up in the end. Daniel Ortuga, about the biggest gap we had of anybody in the top 10. finishing 5 seconds ahead of Vlado Tito, who takes second place. Xavier Sanchez, an excellent run there, up to third, gained 6 spots to find himself on the podium. Miguel Martin was fourth, and Jack David Spickett was fifth. Tim Birdie wound up in sixth, just a couple seconds ahead of Hoglar there in seventh. Martinez, P8, and Becker recovering to ninth. Peter Suaponki, a bit anonymous today, getting the top 10.
Well, you got to look at the people that also lost some positions out there, and these are most of them, as Philip Burke lost 6 down to 11th, and Guardia, well, after that 5 wide, he could not recover. Misses out on that battle there, just misses out on Burke. He finishes in 12th. Konrad Gobrovsky, we didn't see him either. He was in 13th. Mark Millsub would be in 14th. The only driver in the bottom here that he was a net zero, Franco Alberti, 15th, with Tom Payne in 16th, and then Adam Miles, the number 1 car, drops, loses a fun 138 iRacing for that. Still keeps his 10K in 17th. Jeff Randall also having to take that tow with 18th. Philip Pritchard was also caught up. He retired the car right away. Brendan McDonough did not take the grid, hence why he is officially 11 laps down.
Well, we thought it was going to be a slipstream race. It absolutely was, but it got thrown on its head right at the very beginning. I wouldn't be surprised if there were a few hurt feelings about this one, that maybe there will be some conversations post-race. Hopefully it'll all get worked out in the end. This is a pretty good community regardless. But I got to give credit to Otuga. It's not often, Craig, that you can take the pole and then take the win in a race like this. It is a lot harder than it looks.
Yeah, like we always see Adam do it, but Adam, there's a reason he's got 10K. He's got that pedigree. But you see any driver just try to do that. It's so tough because you're chopping and changing position almost every corner on a track like this today. So it's going to be interesting to see if that can happen again, because next time out, I know you'll be getting to it, Joe, different track, but we were here last season. VIR coming up next time. That really does promise, because last time was the shorter layout. This is the full layout. That's going to be really interesting. We get the long straight. Oh, I love that straight.
Yeah, that will bring the slipstream action back. It'll make it a completely different race to what we saw last time at VIR, and that will be on January 22nd at 1:15 p.m. Eastern that will take place. We also have other races coming up, including next out, it is the Grand Prix Legends at Tsukuba, the 2000 layout. Even with that being the biggest track that you can run at Tsukuba, it's still going to be an absolute bull ring for those F1 cars. A big thank you goes out to the team today, Craig, Christian, and Dougie. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.
This is iRacing.